have a good cop, bad cop relationship with the bank. So someone on your team be the good cop and someone on your team be the bad cop. And I asked him which one he was, and he said he was usually the bad cop. I said, well, as the bad cop, when you're trying to work it out with a bank and you're in default, what could you say to the bank so that you're putting pressure on them when in reality they're putting pressure on you because they're trying to foreclose on you? And he said, well, the goal is to save the asset because they're not in the business of owning real estate. And, we've all heard that, right? But he went a little bit further. He said, what I would tell them, well, he said, first off, I wouldn't say anything unless I was ready and willing to back it up. And because once you say something and you don't back it up with action, then every other word out of your mouth falls on deaf ears. So what I would say to them is, we're going to make this a long, arduous journey. Today you're getting a payment, and all we're doing is we're asking for an extension. But right now, if you're unhappy with whatever the amount is they're getting, $100,000 a month or $10,000 a month, whatever the payment is, if you're unhappy with $10,000 a month because I'm not making the full payment, then imagine how it's going to feel when you're not getting anything at all, or we're not paying you anything. And imagine what it's going to be like when you have to go through this whole process with us, because we're going to make it a very long process. And so he would put pressure on him that way. And then the good cop, usually he said his attorney, would be more solution oriented. Well, not that he wasn't being solution oriented, but he would add a ray of sunshine to it. And he said that for every dollar, he'd tell him, for every dollar you're spending on this, you're probably opportunity cost is it's like $5 or $6 because of the money that you could be making and reinvesting it, etc. But he did say, so that was his process. And he did say separately, or on a related note, should it go into default, then they've always got an unofficial cousin Vinny that you're going to be working with, and that person's incentive, or they're incentivized to get as much money for the bank as possible. There's some sort of compensation structure, and it's not a bad thing because everyone's got to get paid, but it's just something to be aware of, that the person who's doing the workout with you, they have an incentive to get as much for the bank financially. So it's just something to keep in mind.